It's time to get up. Nah. For real. Actual King Smith. Let's go. Wake up. What you sleeping on your life for? Wake up. Every day's a chance for more. Wake up. Hands up. Let the beat thump. Wake up. Hey, wake up. Alarm clock ringing, but your mind still tired. Dreams on snooze, yeah, goals on fire. Everybody talk, but few take steps. Same old excuses, different regrets. I ain't here preaching, I'm here reminded. Pressure make diamonds, time to divine. You got breath in your body, fire in your chest. So why you living like you set up for less? Get up off that couch, move your feet. New mindset every time we meet. No doom scrolling, no fear feet. It's the real talk over funky beats. Wake up. What you sleeping on your life for? Wake up. Every day is a chance for more. Wake up. Hands up, let the beat thump. Wake up. Hey, no cape, no crown, still king energy. Talk my truth, that's my identity. Life get heavy, yeah, I've been stressed. Still showed up, put hard in the test. If they doubt you, good, prove them wrong. Same doubt, fuel, make you go strong. Ain't waiting on luck, I hustle with faith. Mind don't progress, but put on the gas and say what? Say now, say move, say how, say what? Get in the bed, shut up and get up and wake up. It's a moment, don't waste none. Wake up. Sun still rise, so you ain't done. Wake up. Beat knocking, let your soul jump. Wake up. Hey, wake up. Yeah. This ain't motivation. This is a reminder. Wake up.
Man, I hope I got the crust out my eyes. What's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to Wake Up with the Actual King Smith live today, January 9th, 2026. I had my assistant give me a ring, talk about wake up. And I'm like, what you mean? I'm on time. No, I'm not. I am so behind that I had to get up, run here, not even wash my face, and click that live button. So hope y'all are doing all right and hope y'all are having a better morning than I am. This is Wake Up with the Actual King Smith on Friday. If there's a like button on whatever platform that you're watching this on, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Got a couple of things to get off my chest this AM. And I'm just really curious what y'all think. And let's start with what everybody's still talking about, Minneapolis. What happened in Minneapolis the other day is, to me, the classic version of something that you can take a look at, see it, and still be divided about what it is that you saw. So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you hadn't seen the footage yet, an ICE agent was involved in a fatal shooting of a young woman in Minneapolis by the name of Renee Nicole Good. And it sparked an immediate massive protest. And some people, like Persian version, there we go, said that person effed around and found out. Other people take a look at it and say that what happened was unnecessary. Where do I stand on it? Where do I stand on it? I think that when you take a listen to what our Vice President, J.D. Vance, said, I think that he goodness gracious, he spinned a strong narrative of something that wasn't, right? You had all of those ICE agents. One person that was positioned a little bit in front of the car. I'm not going to say that if you watch that video that didn't happen. My question is, was the use of force necessary for what had occurred? The question is, why was she there? Okay. Was it necessary for her to be doing what she was doing? To that, I'll say, I don't think it was necessary. Are there ways that you can protest peacefully and not do what she did? To that, I can say yes. That I can say yes. Was it necessary for the officer to draw his weapon the way that he did and shoot the 3 shots that ended her life? That I don't think was necessary. That's my take on it. Was it a FAFO situation? Man, that's tough. Because let me just raise my hand here. Me with some common sense here. I like to think that I have common sense. Would I put myself in that situation doing what she did? No. And that's not out of fear. I just think that there's other ways to prove a point or make an attempt to prove a point and use my voice to try to maybe discourage something that I don't think should be happening. That's my take on it. Do I fault her for what she did? No, not really. Do I think that she needed to lose her life? No. The narrative that the ICE agent was in the way and she was trying to run him over, as calm as that dude got out the way, pulled his pistol out and made those shots and was to me, he wasn't in any like immediate danger like that. I don't think that it was warranted. But that's my take on it. To where there's a comment, she made every decision. Absolutely. She absolutely did. And that people shouldn't be allowed to do what she was doing. He was in the hospital. What was he in the hospital for? The car didn't hit him. That's theatrics, if you ask me. But that's why I want to talk about this. For that guy to go to the hospital for what? I'm not going to dispute that he was in the front. I'm not going to dispute that the car went through going in the path that he was at. I'm not going to dispute that. I am going to dispute this man going to the hospital because from the video that I saw with all of the angles, he didn't get hit. Let's see. Persian Invasion said, just like the BLM morons looking for trouble. Was she BLM? This is another thing. When you listen to the way that people are viewing this, there was one comment on a Facebook post, and this is my take on it too. Like, my name is actually King Smith, right? That's what I pay my taxes as. I'm not hard to find. If I go make a comment, I'm representing myself. There's people that go and make these comments and they're hiding behind names. One Facebook comment said that this is exactly what leftists do. Just like the criminals that they are, they go out here and start trouble. And I'm like, what's a leftist? And what makes a leftist a criminal? Is a leftist defined by what political party that you voted for? And just because you voted a certain way, does that automatically make you a criminal? I don't get the way that people think, right? Like, if you are BLM, does it automatically make you a moron? That's what I'm asking. Right? Was that person BLM? I'm not sure. I don't know. This is why we're talking about it. And I'm asking the question. And my comments are making it so that I'm making excuses for extremely bad behavior. Look, I preach accountability. Well, that's one of the things that I talk about, which is why I said, would I have made the decision that she made? No. But when I take a step back, I do think that people need to be accountable for the actions that they make across the board, from the top down. Everybody should be accountable for the things that they do. And we are living in a society where I think that whether accountability hits you or not depends on your last name, what your ethnicity is, and what your pocketbooks look like. Did she make some bad decisions? Yes. Persian invasion. I'm not going to deny that. She made bad decisions. I still think that it didn't need to get to the point to where it got to where she lost her life. And you said that you hit the dislike button because I'm speaking more ignorance. Hey, that's fine. You are totally entitled to your opinion. And that's cool. That's cool. Said that I clearly didn't look too far into this. That's fair as well. Again, it's interesting that we all can look at the same thing. I wish I could play the video from the different angles, but because of YouTube guidelines, I can't. Otherwise, I'd play it right now from all the different angles that are out there, and I'd put up a poll and I'd ask people what they saw, or I'd try to get people to type into the comment section what they saw. And you're not going to get people looking at it the same way, writing the same thing. And that's okay. Shout out to Pete. Pete Lirowitz said, good morning. Good morning, Pete. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in. Now, what's escalating this today is the response from our current administration. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, came out swinging this morning. And she's not mincing words. She literally said, do not test our resolve to the protesters. Very strong words, very specific words. And that's a very hardline stance. Right? Also in that same area, you've got reports coming in from Hilton, the hotel chain, that they're kicking out ICE agents from their properties because they don't want to be associated with the crackdown. That action right there, for people that don't understand, you can be a Hilton brand, but not be like corporate. You can basically buy like the license of the hotel and rent it as a, not like an independent contractor. I forget exactly what the business term is, because that's exactly what that Hilton did. But corporate came out and said, hey, whoa. We don't agree with this. But hey, y'all have a voice. Yesterday, I also talked about how I believe that there should be some type of legal, proper enforcement, and the enforcement agencies should be able to legally do their jobs without interference. I've got a passport. I did the number yesterday. I've been to 29 countries. And a lot of that was in a short time span when I was active duty military. And in those 29 countries, in 4 of them, I got approached by immigration enforcement as I was out minding my business, asking for my papers, making sure that I didn't overstay my visa. Totally legal. I put out my papers. They checked it out and sent me on my way. It was less than 2 minutes each time. Did I feel targeted? Absolutely. But in certain places, in certain countries, you can tell I'm not a national from there. But I did get approached, asking for my papers to make sure that I wasn't overstaying my visa. A country is entitled to do that. That's the one thing that I do have a message for people in the United States. Are there agents out there, to me, overstepping their boundaries with this enforcement thing? I think so. I think that there is agents out there going above and beyond their authority. I do. You can't tell me that it's not happening. It's being shown. People are using technology and putting that out there. Yet, I am going to say enforcement needs to do their job. They're doing it for a reason. And I know that that's going to negatively impact people that are out there trying to make a living. So 2026 has already had some national headlines. Right at the turn of 2026, the Venezuelan president got snatched up. We've also talked about that earlier this week too. Now, President Trump claimed this morning that he's canceled a second wave of attacks that was going out that way. He's also saying that the U.S. will control Venezuelan oil for years, and has even floated the idea of meeting the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. And it feels like we're on the brink of either a massive de-escalation or a total takeover. Shout out to, let me see this, Brian Zeminski said that she hit him and he hit her. Hey, you also say that it was another F around and found out situation. My anxiety said hello. And Snipe said, just join. What's this about? Look, I'm talking about things this morning that I see that I just want to get off my chest. This is my morning vlog. I do this every morning. You're welcome to join, kick it, provide your comments, or look for something that tickles your fancy a little bit more. But either way it goes, I appreciate you tuning in. Right now, I'm talking about Venezuela and just my take on it. Again, I'm not like a political guy. I don't lean strongly one way or another, but I just like to observe and talk about the things that I see and give my take on it, right? Because what's happening in Venezuela, does it affect me right now where I live? Nope. Do I think that the fallout is going to escalate into something that might affect me somewhere in the future? Yeah, I'm prior military. There's no way that my overweight behind can go back in, as I do not meet current military standards. But I am a retired Air Force guy. I know some people that are still in who are my peers that might have participated in the invasion in which they went and snatched the Venezuelan president. There's going to be some fallout from this, and it's going to affect the way that we vote here in this upcoming year. I hope y'all are out there using y'all's voice to vote, if you're eligible anyway. It's one of the ways that you can have a voice in the direction of the country that you live in if you're in a democratic country. So we got international watchers. Some of y'all out there watching like, yeah, we don't do that in our country. And it is what it is. I'm going to make a bit of a pivot here because I'm a bit of a nerd and I found this interesting. But before I do, we end up getting some more comments. Pete said, World War III is coming. With who? That's the question. I want you to think about this. With who? Who are going to be the people that are going to be fighting in this war? I'm looking at what our president talked about, where he's looking at increasing the defense budget. I brought this article up yesterday. I wish I could bring it up here real fast. But right now we're at under $1 trillion in the 2026 defense budget. For the next fiscal year, he wants to increase that by 50% up to 1.5 trillion. That is a massive amount of money, along with a massive increase. And there's going to be some winners in this. If you're like Raytheon, which he came out and named the other day and said that Raytheon has to do better about what they're producing. Otherwise, they're going to take their government dollars elsewhere. Who else out there is going to do what Raytheon's doing when it comes to weapons and weapon systems and things like that? There's going to be a big leader and a lot of money that's made if there is some type of war coming up. Brian said that Maduro was a bad guy. Asked South American people how they feel. Hey, the South American people came out there and they were cheering. They were cheering. People were happy that he got snatched up and taken out. The pulse on the street was that this was a good thing and that the guy was not a great humanitarian, not a great president. I haven't found any evidence of the contrary that would support that he was a good dude that didn't deserve it. Snipe said that Trump is so wrong. He stated that he didn't want a war to start, but then he angered the entire Venezuelan military, which will end up starting a war if and when they try to retrieve the president. Do you think that that's going to happen? Do you think that the supporters of the Venezuelan ex-president is going to actually take up plans to try to come and get him? That would be stupid if they did. Are they within their rights to do that? That would be interesting. Hey, look, if that happens, sit back, grab your popcorn, because yes, that would be interesting. And Snipe said that you do believe it. You believe it, and some neighboring countries of Venezuela might side with Venezuela as well. Hey, look, if you're a passport bro, because there are some of those countries down there have U.S. people out there visiting. Like for me, right? So this is the way that I am. Let me bring up a map here because I want to see something. I know that Colombia borders Venezuela. So I'm going to bring up a map and then I'm going to share my screen. Let me see this. Map, Google Maps, Venezuela. And y'all, thanks for tuning in. I do this every morning, except for the weekends, because I'm not about that weekend life. Got other things going on. And normally I do this right before I start my job, but today's my off day. I'm not working today. So let me share my screen. Where I've been to Colombia right here. I've been to Medellin, which is always weird to say because where's the Gene? Medellin. Anyway, here's where Venezuela's at. It's not that far from us. It is not that far from us. Here's the U.S. right here. Here's Venezuela. I've been to Medellin. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Aruba. I've been to Brazil. I can't go back to Brazil. Have y'all been to Brazil? Woo. Yeah. And Guyana's right there. I wonder who would be allies of Venezuela in this area that would try and come out and do that. I know Bolivia is a country that I would not want to go to ever in life. All right. But taking a look at Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at some of the videos that people are posting. Like right now, I know that there was a travel restriction because of the airspace and things like that from the attack, that people from the U.S. could not go into Venezuela. But I also wouldn't want to go to any of the neighboring countries right now either. Ain't no way in hell. Because why would I say that? This isn't a fear-based thing. It's common sense. You can look at me no matter where I go, and I don't think that you would see me as an African. I don't think that you would see me as somebody that's European. Like if I was just walking down the street, not talking, I think you can look at me and go, American. And if somebody that is on a certain side is looking to snatch up an American to start some shit, and they see me, no matter how I move, I could try to move as safe as I can, but I am now a target in a place like Bogota if somebody wanted to try to come and do something to prove a point because they're allies with the Venezuelan president. This is how you have to think whenever you're traveling. And again, if you didn't know, I was aircrew in the military. So we would get these theater briefs or in-country briefs or safety briefs wherever we went that kind of taught you, how to think and move depending on the climate of wherever it was that we were going. So I'm not somebody that's speaking from a place of ignorance. I've been to some of these countries and some of these areas. And in my 41 years of life, I haven't had anything dumb happen to me. P said, don't nobody want me. Hey, look, I'm not a young white woman that I guess would be valuable to some folks. I say that as a joke. I kid. Yeah, you're right. Don't nobody want me. I'd be the worst prisoner by far. By far, I'd be the worst prisoner. He said that there's no way that that's going to happen in the most powerful country in the world, that they would be stupid to try and do something like that. Hey, man, I agree with you, but you know what? People are dumb. Dumb things happen anyway. Here's a bit of a pivot. If y'all follow space stuff like me and what our government does, NASA is really transparent. They're really transparent about what they do and what's happening with the crews and stuff who are out there. But before I get into that, shout out to Jesse. Jesse said, the missus and I are planning a trip. We're going to go through different countries as options, and South America is off the table. Hey, see, this right here, I'm highlighting this comment, is how you should think. If you were to go out there and still visit some of these places, you're certainly welcome to. I would advise you to go to, let me make sure that I say the link here. What is it? Travel. It's like state.gov. State.gov travel. Let me look this up. Yeah, I would advise you to go to travel.state.gov. And Jesse knows this. I'm not telling Jesse something that he doesn't already know. And I'd advise you to go to the travel advisories and look at the countries that you would like to visit and just see what's going on. Again, Jesse knows this stuff. He knows this stuff a lot better than most. And if you look at the travel advisories by destination, our government does a pretty good job of putting information out there about where you're going to. And again, I wouldn't use this as like the Bible, but give it some thought with planning so that you can understand where it is that you're going. So if I take a look at Colombia right here. All right, Colombia. Right now, they're at a level 3. Reconsider travel. Doesn't mean you can't go in there. Okay. Reconsider travel due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, and kidnapping. Some areas have an increased risk. Read the entire travel advisory. Is it the entire country of Colombia? No, I think if you go to Bogota, Medellin, you'll be all right. Would I go to any of these border areas? Hell no. And it tells you right here, terrorist criminal organizations may attack with little to no warning and target. And there's a bunch of different, lists of stuff here. There's a reason that they put this stuff out there. Our government does a really good job with intel about things. How do I know this? I can't tell you. I can't tell you, but believe me when I say that there is information and intelligence out there about areas, and they put this stuff out there together for your own benefit. Either you listen to it or you ignore it and F around and find out, but that's on you. As Darian said, check Mexico and Jamaica on the travel advisory. Let's look. Let me come back in here. Let's take a look at what Mexico and Jamaica are looking like. We hit the back button on this. Mexico's level 2. If you see a level 2, exercise extreme caution, that's fine. Level 1s and level 2s to an area are okay. You should consider certain areas, right? So you got a level 2 for Mexico, but there are certain areas like should I even try to pronounce this? Guerrero, Colima, Michoacán. Look, I'm from Alabama. Don't laugh at my Spanish. Sinaloa, I can say that one. These are definitely level 4, do not travel, would not recommend at all. You might go losing your head. And then there's level 3 areas in Mexico, like Baja California, Jalisco, Sonora. A lot of these places where some bad gang cartels are at, all right? And then a lot of the rest of the places fall into level 2, where's level 1? Yucatan and Campeche. Go there. If you're going to Mexico, visit them places. Let's see what Jamaica has. My lady's family's from Jamaica. She has Jamaican blood in her. Jamaica's a level 3. When did it go up? It went up in November. Okay. For health risks, natural disasters, and crime. Don't mean that you can't go. Just says reconsider. And it also gives you a list of things that you would need to know to be able to get into there. Like if you need a tourist visa for Jamaica, you don't need one unless you're staying for over 90 days. Got to make sure that you got passport pages, and you can't bring no more than $10,000 in physical currency in. Interesting. Shout out to It's Darian. As Darian said, good morning. Hey, it's Darian. I appreciate you tuning in. I think some of the stuff that you do is now popping up on my algorithm on YouTube because I support what people are doing around the GLP-1 space. And I think that it's dope. I like the support that people are doing around that community, increasing the awareness of some of these GLP-1s. If you're new to me and this is your first time watching me, I take a GLP-1 called Zepbound. I was almost 290 pounds when I started, which is ridiculous. And I'm down officially yesterday or earlier this week. I was at like 262 to 264. And as Darian said, something that Pete said is not that they don't want you, but they want what you represent. And there's a word out there that I think people should learn, and it's called leverage. I love the term leverage. In a business sense, leverage is what you have that can be able to, that you can use to be able to gain influence or power in a certain situation. And you want leverage in business because that leverage can allow you to gain something favorably for you. in relationships, it's kind of the same way. It sucks to say it that way. But I think that you should have leverage in certain, not all, but in certain relationships. And to criminals that want to try to gain something, yeah, you are a chip, a tool, potential leverage to try to gain something simply because of what your nationality is. So if you know that, then you should know to move a certain way, and it is what it is. Shout out to Deluxe Chicken Productions. That's an interesting name. I appreciate you tuning in. And gave me a hi and a woo and an A. That's what I'm talking about. Hold on. Do I have a sound effect for that? I do not. But I appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to close out with something weird here. I was talking about NASA earlier and how they're transparent. The return of the Crew 11 astronauts from the International Space Station made me scratch my head. Why would I do that, right? For as transparent as NASA has been about things, right? Usually when something happens, they're like, astronaut X has a code or astronaut Y has some type of a minor injury. But they're being vague about why they're coming back. Unidentified medical issues. The language being vague on a medical mystery has me wondering, did they see aliens? I could be paranoid. Maybe I'm just trying to be funny. But we do know that one astronaut is ill, and they aren't saying who. They typically report who it was and what it was. Is it a contagion? Some type of radiation sickness? Are they about to, we've lived through the bird flu. Are they about to bring back some type of space flu that's going to knock out a quarter of the people in the world? Hey, maybe I'm paranoid. Or just like Jesse said, space flu, or they picked up some type of alien COVID. All I know is whatever state that they're landing back in or country that they're coming in from, I'm avoiding that joker. I am not trying to get some type of alien virus. Imagine how the rest of 2026 would go if that was the case. Okay. I don't know. I see things and it makes me go, huh, that's interesting. I'll close out with this. I'm a college football fan. We've got the college football playoff semifinals. One game's already done. Ole Miss and Miami played yesterday, in which Miami is going to go to Miami Gardens in their hometown to compete in the championship against the winner of tonight's game of Indiana versus Oregon. I had Miami winning. Miami came into the college football playoffs as a 10th seed, and they've taken care of business against everybody that they've played against. And that game yesterday was fantastic. It literally went down to the wire. A couple of penalties that occurred here and there that made me go, come on, refs. But for the most part, it was still a good game. I think that Oregon is going to take care of business against Indiana. And I have nothing against Indiana. And I've watched Indiana play about 3 or 4 games this season. And it seems like a team that came out of nowhere, but I disagree. I think with this NIL era of sports that we live in, there's a lot more parity across than ever. And it's essentially who can afford to recruit and gain the highest recruits, because it's not just about the talent. Talent can only take you so far. Coaching matters, scheme matters, support matters. And what Indiana has up there at that university, I think can allow them to build themselves something that at least can make them the current darlings of the NCAA. I think that what NIL does and the way that the transfer portal is, right? like, let me pause for a second. You know how in the NFL you'll have the announcers where they'll do the players' announcements and they'll come out and they'll be like, King Smith, Miami University. If they were being fully transparent, in about 3 to 4 years, it's going to be King Smith, Miami University, Alabama, North Carolina, South Mississippi. Because you have some of these people like Carson Beck that have transferred so many different schools during their entire time that they were in. Carson Beck's been playing college football for 7 years. That makes him a pro at this point. I think Indiana's going to lose. I think we're going to see Oregon versus Miami in the championship game, and I'm stamping it right now. I got Oregon winning it all. Indiana was the darling of this year, just like they were last year. But I think that story is going to end. I think that Oregon, who's been just quietly taking care of business, is going to be the team that people are not going to see that comes out and wins this championship. Miami in its return to glory, people are saying, oh, the U's back. They snuck their way in. Think about this. If you don't know college football like that, but you know like how the way that the championships and stuff was, I follow college football, and I forgot Miami didn't win their conference championship. They came in as an at-large. It was Duke versus Virginia for the ACC championship game. So Miami's one of the teams that came in that didn't even win their conference championship, or wasn't even in the championship game to begin with. I think that they deserve to be here, but I don't see them winning. As Darian said, alien insemination. Yeah, hey, look, I think that you know what? You could definitely have fun with a lot of what's going on. Assuming that more declares, do you think that your Raiders should, who do I think that they should take at number one? Moore or Mendoza? Let me think about this. For the offense that the Raiders have, I like the kid Mendoza. I think his skills is going to translate well for the pros. And I don't think it matters what system or coordinator that he plays under with the talent around him. I think Mendoza can excel wherever he's at. If Moore were to declare, I think that the Raiders would have a better success rate with Mendoza than they do with Moore. But I'm curious what you think. I am curious what you think. Mendoza's going to go number one. I think that he's most people's number one quarterback. But let me see. Let me see what the draft has for people's current draft prospects that's going to take place this April. Who they have. And a lot of people, most people have Mendoza, but it's 75-25. Right now, most analysts have Mendoza at number one, where 25% of analysts have Dante Moore as number one. I think that this is interesting. The Ravens haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Jamarcus Russell in 2007. I'm not sure why Geno Smith didn't work out. Jesse, what's your take on why Geno didn't work out there? Geno's not a bad quarterback. What happened? Let me see if you're still on, and if you could provide some insight into why your Raiders just did not look that good. Genty showed flashes. Brock Bowers did his thing until he got hurt. But if Moore declares Mendoza's going to go 1, I think Moore goes 2. He's not going to slide. He's not going to slide one bit. I'd be surprised because the Jets going to take a quarterback? That organization is weird. Let me see. Jesse said, how much time do I have? Well, I was about to end the stream, but if you could summarize it. Man, you know, have you been to the Las Vegas stadium yet? I think I saw a picture where you have. Man, that's a nice stadium. That is a nice stadium. I'm going to stick around a bit. I'm going to find some stuff to talk about here. I'm going to stick around a bit. If you could put maybe 1 or 2 sentences as to what happened, because it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Let me see where analysts have the Ravens, who they have them picking. They have the Ravens going defense. The Ravens have the 14th pick. Okay, I like some of these early draft boards in which my Baltimore Ravens are looking at and who could be down there. We'll take that. We'll take that. All right. Let me see if there's anything else that I need to cover before I go offline here. I'm enjoying this day off. I'm going to spend some time with my lady here a little bit later on. We were supposed to do a double-decker tour of some things, but the weather is like, nope. Not going to allow that to happen. We're going to be talking some content strategy with some of my boys here a little bit later on as well. And I'm looking forward to just relaxing. Might even go get a pedicure. I need a pedicure and a massage. The massage is scheduled. The pedicure I might need to slide in somehow, some way. All right. Let me see. Jesse, I'm going to give you a little bit more time. See if you are going to take me up on the opportunity of putting that information on the screen here. What do y'all do for self-care? I talk to a lot of men out there, and I'm like, hey, man, when's the last time that, y'all got a massager, took care of your feet, and got a pedicure? People like, pedicure? Man, I don't get no pedicures. Man, I need them jokers. I need them jokers. I don't know about y'all, but I do. All right, here we go. Yeah. I was like, man, I'm running out of things to say here. He said mismanagement from the top down, bad OC pick, bad O-line management by Pete's son. That's another thing. Speaking of Pete's son, nepotism. I think that nepotism runs rampant in certain sports. I don't see as much nepotism in other sports like how I do in the football space. And that's NFL and NCAA. One could say, hey, they're right there. They had the opportunities to learn from the best and then prove themselves. Okay. But when you said Pete Carroll's son, it made me think about Charlie Weiss and some of these other organizations that you have a lot of nepotism in some of these positions. And I think it's interesting. But okay, mismanagement from the top down. Sounds like the Cowboys. Snipe said, nope, pedicures are weird. Why are they weird, man? Why are they weird? Take care of your feet, Snipes. Jesse said, I'm on a bad meal connection. I got to get at you later and catch up with you on a couple of topics. Hey, man, I appreciate you tuning in and contributing while you did have the opportunity, bro. I appreciate that, and I give you a salute. Snipe said, talk about the management for the Buffalo Bills. That's my team, and it's a good team, but the manager is crap. Hey, Buffalo, man. I went up to Buffalo earlier, well, it was about a year or two ago. I wasn't necessarily in Buffalo, but I went up to Niagara Falls. Interesting place. I don't know if you've been there before, but the football team itself, I don't think that Josh Allen is ever going to win a championship at Buffalo. And I think management is part of the reason. Well, I think that team is talented. The people that are making some of the non-football decisions in a sport that big also matters as well. Some people think that it's about the X's and O's and the talent. No, it's about everything else that goes along with making a world-class organization works. That's why, like, the Patriots are as good as they are for a while, because the non-football operations are also top tier. You don't just get championship organizations out the middle of nowhere. And I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Ravens fan. But there are certain things, like when you look at the New York Jets, the Cleveland Browns, I think they're just cursed. And some of these other teams, they're fielding money. They're making a profit on the business side of things. Things are going well. But on the football side, they're making some non-football decisions that I think are just going to hamstring them. Like if you look at what some of these small market teams are doing, like Jacksonville. Jacksonville didn't just show up out of nowhere. Who else I think is doing really good on the non-football operations side? The Los Angeles Rams. Look, they had a kind of a crappy situation on some things this year. But mark my words, I think the Rams are going to, in the next 5 years, the Rams are going to win another championship. And I think that management from the top of the organization down matters. The Raiders have to make some changes. The Cowboys, I can't see them in my lifetime returning to glory with Jerry Jones doing what he's doing. I think Jerry Jones is a smart businessman, but I don't know if he's bringing his old practices and keeping up with modern times. That's my take on it. But Snipe says that you've been there and you've lived there as well. And I've moved, though. I live a little further down south. I'm still in NY, though. That's dope. That's dope. That area of NY is different, right? Because when I've been to New York City, I've been to that upper area near Buffalo and stuff as well. And it's different. The whole culture is different. Like New York City is New York City. But then when you get outside of New York City, the rest of New York is a whole lot slower. It's kind of cool, though. I can see myself living up there. Hell no. It gets ridiculously cold with a lot of snow, and that is not my cup of tea. And regarding the Buffalo Bills, Snipe says we don't even have a punt coordinator. Our manager does that. We need one, and he wants to assign someone. He also, as we know, does a horrible job, and we lose punts almost every time. I didn't think about that, but that is true. That is true. Like I like Josh Allen, so I do watch a lot of the Buffalo Bill games whenever I can, and I never really thought about it that way. But yeah, their special teams is trash. And he said it's the country instead of the city or by the lake. It's crazy. Speaking of the different New York areas. That's dope. All right, y'all. That's my time for the day. Normally, I'm just 30 minutes from 7 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern because of my job. But again, this is my off Friday. I have every other Friday off for the most part. So I went a little bit longer today. But I appreciate those of y'all that tuned in. I typically don't go live on the weekends, on Saturdays or Sundays, unless something crazy happens. So if you like this format and you just want to come hang out and kick it with me and shoot the breeze, tune in daily at 7 o'clock Eastern here at The Actual King Smith. If you hadn't already, hit that like button. I like the person earlier that hit the dislike button because they said I'm ignorant. Anyway, Snipe says, sorry, buddy, I've got to head out. School sucks. You earned a sub. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you tuning in, Snipes, and everybody else that tuned in and commented. Thank you. Hope y'all have a great weekend. And I'm out. Peace. It's Darian. Salute.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Trumpets blare the golden call. A throne awaits, I rise so tall. Drums like thunder, shake the hall. Royal robe, I wear the weight. Diamonds cut the night, no debate. Heavy is the head, but I'm feeling great. Crown me king, crown me king. Horns will shout, let the kingdom sing. Crown me king, crown me king. Bow to the sound, feel the power I bring. I bring.